guest and friend, Renira Gambarato, and let me present her. Renira is full professor of media and communication at Jönköping University, Sweden. Her research focuses on transmedia studies, Pearsian semiotics, and streaming media. She is the author and editor of numerous books and scholarly publications, including the books Exploring Transmedia Journalism in the Digital Age 2018, The Routledge Companion to Transmedia Studies 2019, Theory, Development and Strategy in Transmedia Storytelling 2020, and Streaming Media and Cultural Memory in a Post-Digital Society 2025, from which Renira, I believe, is drawing her talk today. I learned very soon that Renira doesn't like very pompous presentations, so be sufficient. So Renira, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So thank you very much for this very nice but kind of unexpected invitation to come to a conference about age and celebrity, because I do not work with neither of them. So, but I am very glad to be here. So let's see if I can find within my own repertoire something that can be interesting for you. So therefore, I'm going to talk about streaming media, which is the topic of my latest book. And we will talk a little bit about the book. But then as a case study to illustrate the argument, we are going to focus on the HBO acclaimed series, The White Lotus, that I hope you have been in touch, as the series has been very successful. The third season was aired this year, and we already have the news about the fourth season, which is going to be in France. And but let's get started. So the first aspect that I would like to highlight is this ambiguity in terms of relating to aging celebrities in the context of streaming media. Because on the one hand, we have very positive aspects connected to it, because the logic of streaming media can really emphasize certain things, like give more visibility to aging stories, and therefore aging actors and actresses, can really give opportunity to revive some actors and actresses, so really giving a new opportunities for their career development. The fact that streaming media works as a repository as well, so we can access this for a longer period of time, so it's easy, can be available all over the world, and things like that, that can be very positive. But then, on the other hand, we can also ended up, reinforcing stereotypes in terms of narratives that are just replicating old ideas about how elderly people should look like or how they should behave and things like that. For example, replicating stereotypes like elderly people are in decline or are, irrelevant or are not in a healthy condition and things like that, or also emphasizing stereotypes like, oh, every elderly person is very smart and has the wisdom and has all the knowledge, and which is also a stereotype, right? But what has been called my attention is that recently we have had very successful streaming series that have protagonists that are older. And we can mention these ones that you are seeing in the image. So, for example, HBO comedy series called Hacks with Jean Smart as the protagonist. She's 74 years old now. She just won, like yesterday or 2 days ago, the Emmy as a best actress for comedy. And then we also have this common element of having intergenerational characters together. And so Hex has Jean Smart as an older comedian, and she has an assistant that helps her to write and update her jokes. That is played by Hannah Einsbinder, who also won the Emmy for supporting actress. And then we have Only Murders in the Building, produced by Hulu, distributed by Disney, and where we have Steve Martin Short, as the protagonist, together with another intergenerational character, which is played by Selena Gomez. And they are living in the same building, a very famous building in New York. And they are researching about, so investigating, like our PI, these murders that somehow are occurring in the building. And then they have a podcast about the crimes. And then we also have Apple TV series called Shrinking with Harrison Ford as the protagonist, also with a younger character as well, both playing psychologists. And so Shrinking, so this reference to the slang shrink as a way to refer to psychologists. And the premise of this series is that they are psychologists that actually tell the truth to their clients. And so it is very compelling and funny and emotional and so on. I really recommend all of this series, not because they are so innovative in the way they are dealing with older characters, but exactly for the ambiguity that they all bring. So we have innovative portrayals of elderly people, but we also have some other more conservative elements. But these examples are quite representative, I think, from this moment. And we could mention several other examples like Netflix, The Man Inside, and other important series that have protagonists that are older. But let's take a quick look just to illustrate how this ambiguity plays out. So looking into Deborah Vance, who is the character played by John Smart in Hex. So she is an aging Las Vegas comedian, and on the one hand, she is portrayed as very complex character, so not just falling into the stereotypes, but she is very ambitious. She is really funny. She is interested in, keep going, developing her career and other kinds of business. And but she's also deeply flawed as a person and also as a comedian, because she kind of represents this idea of an older comedian that is kind of out of touch with what we would say today, like that is politically incorrect. So she has jokes and sometimes her own mindset can reinforce this idea of being out of touch with the contemporary sensitivities. So, for example, there is a scene when she leaves a Spanish to English dictionary at the U.S.-Mexico border, and another joke that she is calling dyslexia dysdexia, so already playing with the problem of dyslexia to change the position of the syllables and so on. Only Murders in the Building, so also have this element of intergenerational collaboration. So the characters are so the older and the younger, so they are very engaged, so they are friends, they have a good relationship, and the characters are portrayed as being smart and witty, which is out of the stereotype. But on the other hand, we can also see that the age of the male protagonists is used as jokes, and it is present. For example, with self-deprecating jokes. And I am highlighting one joke when Mabel, the character played by Selena Gomez, she walks into the apartment of Oliver, played by Martin Short, and the door of the apartment is unlocked, and then she hears Oliver jokingly saying that he never locks his door, and then she ironically mentions, well, old white guys are only afraid of colon cancer and societal change. So these kinds of elements are present in the series as well. But now let's start thinking about this lens or this perspective to try to see this issue of ageism in streaming media through the lens of cultural memory. So here you can see the cover of my most recent book, launched in the beginning of 2025. So I wrote it with a colleague, Johannes Heumann, who is a historian. So it was a very interesting collaboration between us, so we could look into the media elements, but also go deeper into the cultural memory aspects. And in the book called Streaming Media and Cultural Memory in a Post-Digital Society, we do not mention ageism directly, but we look into what is the role that streaming platforms play in terms of cultural sustainability or unsustainability. So we discuss these aspects of streaming as a living repository. We discuss the elements of remembering and forgetting that streaming has the ability to bring. So whatever is there and whatever they are highlighting will probably be remembered more by audiences than what is not there or what they are not emphasizing. Because of course they are commercial platforms, like Netflix, and we are talking about Netflix, HBO, Disney, Apple Plus, and etc. And so they, of course, have all the logic of algorithms, but they also have very clear commercial interests. So, and this really plays a role in what the collective memory is going to be considering because of what is being available or not on these kinds of platforms. So, and so I think that the book has an interesting reflection about these elements. And in terms of case studies, we just discussed streaming series in the book. But White Lotus is not in the book. But The Crown, Chernobyl, Mrs. America, The Handmaid's Tale, and Squid Game are in the book. So we have chapters for each of them. And but what I think we can relate in terms of looking into ageism and this example of White Lotus for today is that these elements of past and present narratives available on streaming can also influence our perception on aging and the roles that elderly characters would play. And we can also see these elements of intergenerational, but also intra-generational ageism. So What does it mean? It means that, normally we just think that because ageism is a kind of a prejudice against elderly people, that normally we just relate it to younger generations being ageist in relation to older generations, but which means intergenerational ageism. But we also have intragenerational ageism, which means the elderly people themselves are also criticizing and having stereotype and having prejudice and so on in relation to other elderly people. So this is something interesting to take into consideration. And at the end, when we think in terms of streaming media context, the representations of aging celebrities and the representations of ageism and so on, they really surpass the level of individuality and really start to build on a common understanding, a shared memory, shared collective memory, because what we are watching is influencing how we see nowadays all these issues of aging. But let's really get into the case for today, which is the White Lotus from HBO, and to analyze the series. I have chosen a method from Astrid Earle, who is a contemporary scholar working with cultural memory. And she developed this three-dimensional analytical framework to look into cultural memory in relation to media elements, which is our case and what interests us here. Because you know that cultural memory, traditionally was more focused on artifacts and cultural rituals and monuments and these kinds of things, but nowadays it expanded so much, and especially in terms of the relationship of cultural memory in connection to media. And then we have contemporary authors, discussing it, and Astrid Earle from Germany is one. Then we have Rigney, we have Barbara Hagendorn from the Netherlands. So all these more contemporary authors are thinking about cultural memory in connection to popular culture. So, but let's take a look into this model from Astrid Earle. So the three dimensions that she established. So one is intramedial dimension, then intermedial, and then plurimedial. So in the intramedial, so she is considering what is going on inside the product that we are looking at. So in this case, the White Lotus. The intermediate dimension is about this aspect of how that production interacts with media history and other media intertextualities and so on. And then plurimedial dimension. So she is referring more into the reception, so how that production is received by audiences. So these, in general terms, are the elements of these three dimensions. And in our case, so for the intramedial, so looking inside the White Lotus, we are going to focus on this nostalgic repackaging of aging stars of the series, and we are going to see some cases. In terms of the intermediate dimension, we are going to look into the transmedia perspective related to the series, and then the plurimedial aspect, we are going to talk about memes, the memes that were very abundantly developed by audiences and distributed on social media in relation to the series. And we are going to look how they relate to memory. So let's start with the intramedial dimension. So we will look first at Jennifer Coolidge, the actress who plays the protagonist of season 1 and season 2 of White Lotus. The character is called Tanya. So, and here we can again see the ambiguity of the portrayal of a character such as Tanya. So we have Tanya being very, sexually active as an older woman, with lots of humor. She's very rich, so she has agency about what she is doing. And then she's very emotionally complex, so her relationships, and so it is a very multifaceted person on the one side, but then on the other side, all these elements are kind of exaggerated in the character. So they also portray a kind of, a disconnect from the real world, and this emphasis on her wealth and her privilege, which is very much the focus of the series as a whole. So a criticism and a satire in relation to, looking into all these rich people, because the White Lotus, the premise of the series, so it's an anthology series, and the premise is that the White Lotus is a chain of luxury hotel, and there are hotels in different places. So the first season is in Hawaii, the second is in Sicily, the third is in Thailand, and the fourth will be in France. And so there is all this play between all the rich people who are staying in these hotels, and normally the whole story is 1 week of their vacation in the hotel, and there is always a crime happening. And also the other side, so the staff of the hotel. So this clash of classes and so on, it's also emphasized. So here, this element of kind of exaggerating on Tanya's characteristics as wealth and privilege person can also risk reinforcing the stereotype of the tragic older woman. So she's very dramatic. And then, spoiler alert, so she dies, which becomes very tragic and dramatic at the end of season 2. So again, this ambiguity is present in White Lotus as well. And then here we are, Jennifer Coolidge. So who is she? We can see this image of her playing a MILF, no? So a very sexually active mother in films like American Pie. And she became a kind of sex symbol because of this kind of emblematic portrayals of a mature woman, because she was already in the 90s and early 2000s, so already a mature woman playing this sex symbol, and especially for the adolescents and in this context. But then now there is this transformation of this kind of typical casting for her, and now she plays this role in The White Lotus, not necessarily anymore as a sex symbol, but bringing together this nostalgia of her previous image. So it plays a role into audiences' memory, cultural memory, in relation to her previous roles, and how this is portrayed similarly or differently in The White Lotus. So in this sense, her identity as an actress was not erased and completely changed for now that she's older. She's in her 60s. And, but it is incorporated, all this sex appeal that she had in her career, it is also incorporated in The White Lotus. And all this reframing of her persona as an actress reflects this dynamic and these elements of nostalgia in relation to cultural memory in streaming media. Another interesting case in The White Lotus, actually there are several, I will not mention all of them, but another case is the character Jacelyn, played by Michelle Monaghan, that you can see here, a very beautiful woman in her late 40s. And in the series, she plays the role of a very successful actress that is fearing the aging, because she, as every human being, is also aging. And then she is having this kind of crisis. And she travels to the White Lotus in season 3 with a group of friends who are also at the same age. And they really have a very prominent role in the series. And one of the most emblematic scenes about this fear of aging is when they arrive to the hotel in Thailand, and then she's very rich because she's a successful actress, and she is, treating her friends together with her to be in this very luxurious hotel and so on. But then they are at the pool, and then they realize that, well, there are just elderly people staying at the hotel. And they have this kind of, panic attack to understand that. But then there are, other developments that are very interesting about this group of friends, because then they are all in this middle age crisis in a way, and then they are having relationships with younger guys and so on. So this is it's a very rich element to look at in terms of aging celebrities, because the actresses are celebrities, but because also the character Jesslyn is playing a celebrity actress. But then on season 3, instead of Jennifer Coolidge as the protagonist, then we have Parker Posey as the protagonist of season 3. So she plays the role of a matriarch, so the mother of a very wealthy family, the husband, the wife, and 3 young adult children. And then here again, there is this kind of nostalgic repackaging of Parker Posey herself, because she started her career in the 80s and 90s, and she became known as the queen of indie movies. And then here I just brought this image of maybe you all know this movie, Breakfast Club, at least when I was an adolescent. So this was a must to watch, the Breakfast Club. I don't know how it's translated into Italian, but yeah, it's Breakfast Club. So, and then we can see here in this image, so she is the all in black character in the middle. So very, very different from her colorful character here as Victoria Radcliffe in White Lotus. So she transformed her image again from a very quirky, outsider, cool, cult persona, and now playing the role of this matriarch, very weak, very rich, and so on. So we can see this kind of meta commentary that her character represents in terms of aging and how audiences can also remember her, and this nostalgic repackaging of herself as Victoria Radcliffe. But let's now take a look into the intermedial dimension. So here I talk about the transmedia effect. So transmedia storytelling basic involves the multiple media platforms, but the expansion of content across different media platforms, but also involves the audience engagement elements. So in terms of platforms, we are talking about the streaming series itself, but also we have podcasts that HBO produced together with the series. We have soundtrack albums, so it became a huge success. The score, the original song that it was created for the series, and then all the memes circulating on social media created by audiences. and also lots of merchandise, for example, related to the White Lotus. So here we can see the podcast that is available, for example, on Spotify and other repositories. Then the next image, we see that they really produce LPs, 2 LPs with the soundtracks of the series, but this, of course, is also available digitally. Then we can see on the top right corner this meme of Tanya, one of Tanya's famous quotes from season 2, that is, "These gays, they are trying to murder me." Then here we can see that at HBO shop online, you can buy, for example, the White Lotus t-shirt. Then the next image, we see a book that is an official cocktail collection from, the hotels in the different seasons. Then the next image is a collection of chocolates with sticky rice. So sticky rice is something common in Thailand. So then they have this chocolates with this relationship with Thai culture. And the last image is candles, also White Lotus candles, and a lot more. So if you are curious and just check online, you will see from, bed linen to everything else you can imagine of White Lotus products. So for us to get closer to the conclusion, so the plurimedial dimension, so we can see that all these satire elements of the White Lotus, all the social critique, the very wealth characters and so on. So all of this really was, a gift for audiences, and it was, it worked very well to motivate people to actually start remixing and creating their own memes and elements because of the success and the critique of the series. So now we are going to take a look into very short clips that characterize some of the most common memes that are related to the series. So the first one is a joke about Peppa Pig.
Guess who I am? What?
Peppa Pig.
I'm Monica Vitti.
Monica Vitti is dead. But yes.
So, and this was an improvisation from the Italian actress. So it was not written, the Peppa Pig. So this, it's very interesting that it was an improvisation.
Please, these gays, they're trying to murder me.
So this phrase, these gays, they're trying to murder me. So it also became very iconic, and the LGBT community really embraced it in a very positive way, these aspects.
Don't you dare judge me. I am your mother.
We're a normal family.
Don't worry, I took a lorazepam.
I slept like a corpse. I thought I was going to have a grand mal seizure.
I just don't think at this age I'm meant to live an uncomfortable life.
These help me to really relax. Scratch my arm. Feels so good. This congeniality. But you're not a Buddhist.
Actresses are all basically prostitutes, if they're lucky.
Honey, you're not from China.
Tam kati tele, katai gun my nam.
You want to live in Taiwan?
I will support it. Well, I won't support it, but I will keep my mouth shut.
They're sex cults, Piper. Nexium.
It's a cult.
When are you taking my lorazepam? I don't even have my lorazepam. I'm going to have to drink myself to sleep.
It's grim.
Who did you meet with a boat?
I just had a massage. You're setting me back.
Most people don't have good values. Just because people are rich doesn't mean they're not trashy.
Why are you with this middle-aged weirdo? Does he have a lot of money?
The least we can do is enjoy it. If we don't, it's offensive.
La-di-da.
Maybe Jesus will save her from those Buddhists. You want one of my pills?
So here we see this collection of the very famous accent that she's playing, someone from the south of the US, and this pronunciation of words like Buddhism, Piper no, and this became very iconic and replicated a lot online. Now with the remix.
We flew over the North Pole.
Sawadika. Welcome to the White Lotus in Thailand.
Tsunami. Tsunami. No. No. Buddhism. Buddhism. No. No. You want to live in Taiwan? Piper, no. Piper, no.
So you can have an idea. I think I'm talking too much, right? So let's try to conclude. Then here to understand this these memes, I use this concept of mimetic memory that is actually considering memes as cultural data in terms of the materiality of it, the algorithm, the digital elements, so the macro images, the clips, and so on. But this can just be become viral and have all the elements of a meme because it has this resonance with audiences, recognition of it, and therefore memes also have this dynamic cultural memory aspect. So they become cultural references, and it's just the recognition of audience, the reinterpretation that can actually make it iconic and viral and interesting for audiences. So, and then basically is this. So I just would like to highlight this duality, this ambiguity of representing aging and ageism in streaming media. So we have very interesting and positive aspects, but also the elements that are reinforcing more common stereotypes. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Is it working? Yeah. Uh, thanks a lot for bringing in our discussion on celebrity and aging, all these very important framework of studies, memory studies. Memory studies have indeed developed a lot. Is it too low? Can you hear me? No. Memory studies have developed a lot in the new millennium. You mentioned, because I read what you wrote, you mentioned Aleida Asman, which you're not mentioning right now, but right at the end of the new, right at the end of the millennium, Aleida Asman writes a book titled Remembering, and she questions the issue of how do societies remember now that the living witnesses are disappearing, those witnesses of the crucial historical facts of that millennium, of the 20th century. So that's, later on she writes books on memory culture and Western civilization, including media. And that's when memory studies come into play, really mushroom into the study of media. How do what's the role of media as mediators of memory? So it's your questions on agents of memory, mediators of memory in the streaming culture is really crucial and adds perspective to our research on aging and celebrities. A further comment, more specific in what you're analyzing, is the role of ephemeral media content, meaning user-generated contents which are objects that fluctuate. You don't know how long they stay. Still, they play a crucial role in sustaining, supporting the durability of celebrities' images, as they remediate, they give new interpretation, they enlarge the meaning and value of a character, of an actress and her celebrities. So ephemeral media, these contents like memes, but also podcasts, circulate in a way that support the longevity of celebrities, of discourse on celebrities' characterizations. So they create actually a vitality that is part of our interest in celebrities' aging impact on the notion of aging. So celebrities' impact on the notion of agency involves questions on vitality, what kind of vitality. So that's my general comment, very positive to what you're suggesting. And then before, actually opening the discussion to everybody, I'd like to throw one very general question that concerns these two actresses that you're analyzing, Jennifer Coolidge and Parker Posey. So as for how a series renews cultural capital, how does the White Lotus renews their cultural capital? It really depends. On the one hand, I believe the way their capital is renegotiated depends on what is specific to them. So it depends on their specific celebrity capital, meaning their looks, their characters, their publicity, discourse. But, this process, this remediation, may evolve along autonomous lines, that's what you're arguing, I believe, from the system of meanings and values that each of these actresses constructed over time. For example, Jennifer Coolidge, the dumb blonde, the MILF in American Pie, how does this develops? And so how far this renovation of cultural capital go from those specific meanings? And particularly, what active role do these actresses have in this? So how do they participate willfully in this remediation? Even though I have a sense that the direction is irony, humor, exploring new ways of being humorous while building up characters and humorous about their own past. So basically, it's how do actresses participate in this process? That's my first question, and I won't talk anymore.
Thank you, Sara. So I think, first of all, these two actresses, what they really have in common is the fact that they are, first of all, excellent actresses, and they have always been very good actresses. And they both have worked a lot. So since the 80s or the 90s, and they always worked. They were very productive in their career. However, they did not have the level of celebrity, if we can say that they actually are acquiring now with the White Lotus, because of course, the success of the series itself, the quality of the production, because HBO really have a high quality production in every sense in relation to a product like the White Lotus. And of course, the reality of today, this penetration in terms of audiences, so all this that the streaming itself, but the social media can bring, so really heightened their visibility now. And because their work is actually very brilliant, so Jennifer Coolidge won all the awards for her representation of Tanya, and Parky Posey will probably win soon several awards as Victoria Radcliffe as well. And so how they are contributing to it? Well, I think that their main contribution to this is their brilliance. So how good they are in representing these characters with humor, but with a pinch of criticism,
right, self-awareness,
and all of this. But all the media landscape that we have nowadays, that it was not the case, when they were more in vogue, like in the 90s. So this plays a big role to elevate their status today.
Yeah. So maybe even the fact that, for example, being you said the queen of indies, right? That's something specific of that actress that works very well for this purpose of remediation, renegotiation. So it's well, we've discussed a little bit before. So you're suggesting a case study, and at the same time, I'm deducing that it's a question of focusing on each particular case. So what's the background of these actors? This remediation doesn't occur in similar ways if it is a prestige star involved.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of this case that became very iconic. So the series became very iconic, and these two characters specifically became very well known and so viral in terms of how audiences have engaged with them. That's what makes this case interesting for me, I think.
Right, so any question?
I was at the phone, so I'm sorry if there's already said that. I didn't understand so well the connection between Parker Posey and the Breakfast Club, only for this.
So my point with this was to point this nostalgic repackaging of these two actresses, Jennifer Coolidge and Parker Posey. So how we can have a nostalgic feeling towards Parker Posey, because she was very active working in the late 80s and the 90s with a kind of character. So a kind of very cool, very quirky, like an outsider, for example, as she played her character that she played in Breakfast Club.
But I think that's in Breakfast Club. I'm sorry. Maybe I.
So.
I'm sorry.
Yes, exactly. So I just I could have brought several other movies that she played. I just thought that Breakfast Club, everybody would remember that.
I'm sorry, it was my disattention.
Yeah, but the point is this: so how she was known as an actress playing this kind of outsider in indie movies, how she then now become this matriarch and very rich
now.
and
I'm sorry.
Thank you very much for your talk. It was very enjoyable, and I was very much persuaded by the intramedial discussion of duality. Thought that was fascinating, and that complexity. And I guess I wanted to ask, thinking about that in relation to the later categories from the model. So to what extent does the merchandise, so the intermedial or the transmedia effect, to what extent do those kind of paratexts, I would want to call them, perhaps extend the duality, or sidestep it altogether, so they're just brand reinforcement, but they're not actually engaging with duality of meanings around aging celebrity? Or do some of those paratexts collapse the duality, so you get less of the innovation and more of the stereotyping? And I guess it might just be too difficult to engage with given the huge proliferation of memes and things, but does the plurimedial, how does that relate to the duality as well? So I guess it's kind of the duality in the textual analysis, in the intramedial, is really persuasive, but how do you see that feeding through for better or worse into the transmedial extensions and into the plurimedial reception?
Great point. So what I think is that I think we can think about, we'll make an exercise to think about the duality in these other two dimensions. So, for example, with the podcast, so what is the content of the podcast? So the podcast is basically bringing behind the scenes elements to discussion. The podcasts are, interviewing the people involved in the production, the actresses and actors, but also producers and other people. So, and in a way, they are kind of explaining themselves. So, and then I think that this could bring some good elements to discuss duality, because they, of course, there are several kinds of criticisms towards the series. I am just emphasizing how good it is because I love it. But of course, there are lots of criticism. For example, Sara was telling me that she struggled a little bit to watch the seasons because of the pace, which is kind of slow. And then I laugh because this is a very common criticism that the series receives. That, like, the first episodes of each season, it's kind of nothing is happening, so to say. But then when things start to happen, lots of things happen and transform. And in a way, this in itself, the rhythmus is dual as well, because it has this layer of slow pace, but then when things pick up, then lots of things happen. So many characters are involved in the same kind of conflict or the crimes themselves. So I think this is a good point, and we can relate it to the other dimensions. So the pluri aspect, I think, again, how the public is, the audiences are engaging with it, because of course there are also criticisms and opposite perspectives. For example, highlight, but this is too much of privilege, so it's too much focusing on it, or but okay, it's a satire, but not really so clear that it is a satire, because it's a very sophisticated kind of satire. So it's not a cheap way to show that this is a satire. So it is a little bit more sophisticated, and this also provokes, I think, a a duality in the response, how the audiences are receiving the series. But of course, for this, I did not look into it in details, but I just like so much this aspect of duality because we are like that. So we have the good, the bad, the ugly, everything inside. So we are also ageists now and then, but we are also innovative in ways how to look into it. And now we that are aging ourselves, so not the youngest in the room, but I myself so can see my own relationship with aging and the gray hair and everything. So I think that this is the beauty of the duality. It's because it's ambiguous, but we, all human beings, have it inside. So it is very important for us to be aware of it and not just think that, the bad is the other because we are great, and we aren't, unfortunately, yet.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations for your wonderful contribution. My question is more a suggestion than a real question. When you talk about the possibility that TV series are connected to intergenerational and intragenerational relationship, I observed that your research could relate closely to Karl Mannheim's sociology of generations. In particular, I believe that the way we deal with the theme of aging in TV series and is closely linked to the way in which different generations conceive of aging and the very concept of age. According to Mannheim, by generation, we mean not a group of people born in the same years, but a group of people born in the same years who are exposed to the same cultural and social trends. So, among these trends, for me, according to me, we must also consider the way in which a society conveys a specific conception of old age and aging. And so the TV series elaborate all those things. I'm not sure if you are agreed, but this is my reflection on your beautiful contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend Mario, who was my friend before we met, actually, here. My Facebook friend, Mario. Great, thank you for the suggestion, because actually I will be able to incorporate suggestions as I'm going to transform this into an article, and I think that the especially the intra-generational problems with ageism are very interesting, and there is I have already started taking a look to prepare for this. So I have looked into other research that other studies that have looked into it. And so your suggestion is very welcome, because I will have the opportunity to incorporate and hopefully have an interesting article.
Other questions? I'd like to thank again
Thank you. Thank you.
This meeting is about a 10 minutes break only.